Back to the Future. Could it actually happen with a real time machine?
I was devastated. I thought if I could build a time machine that I could go back and see him again and tell him what was going to happen, maybe save his life. And so that became an obsession for me.
What if someone could vanish from reality, not die, not run away, just simply stop existing to everyone around them? That's not a movie plot. That actually happened. In 1997, a man walked into a machine he built in his own garage, and the world never saw him again. No body, no trace. Just a burned-down garage, a 6-foot scorch mark on the concrete floor, and a single handwritten note inside a metal toolbox that read, "It's not about time, it's about how you see things." For 29 years, the world assumed Mike Markham was either dead or a myth. Then in 2022, he showed up, in person, at a stranger's front door, older, worn down, and carrying a wooden box filled with 29 years of answers that nobody was prepared to hear. What he revealed wasn't proof of time travel. It was something far more terrifying than that. Hit like and subscribe right now, because once this story gets into your head, you won't be able to stop thinking about it. The discovery Mike Markham grew up in rural Missouri during the 1970s and 80s. He had no college degree, no research funding, and no scientific connections. He was just a curious kid who became dangerously fascinated with electricity, pulling old transformers out of junkyards, teaching himself electronics from library books, and spending every free hour in a converted garage behind a rented farmhouse building, things that crackled, sparked, and glowed. Tesla coils, Jacob's ladders, anything that could produce a high-voltage arc. He didn't have a grand plan. He just loved the raw, unpredictable power of it. And sometime in the early 1990s, that love led him somewhere he was never supposed to go. He had built a Jacob's ladder, the classic V-shaped device with 2 metal rods and a high-voltage arc that climbs slowly upward between them. Standard physics demonstration equipment, nothing unusual. But Mike noticed something that no textbook had ever mentioned. When he aimed a cheap laser pointer through the arc's behavior changed. It became more stable, more controlled, and objects placed near it started to flicker. At first, he assumed it was just an optical illusion, the bright arc messing with his vision. But he couldn't stop thinking about it. He started testing it properly. He placed small metal objects between the rods, screws, washers, coins, and watched carefully. And sometimes, just for a fraction of a second, they would vanish, not fall, not move, disappear. There one instant, gone the next, then back, right where they started. That's when Mike Markham's life divided into 2 completely different chapters. Everything before that moment and everything after it. He became obsessed. He documented everything, voltage levels, environmental conditions, every configuration he tried. He was convinced he had found something real. He just didn't know what it was. And more than anything, he needed someone to tell him he wasn't losing his mind. The call in January 1995. He picked up the phone and called Coast to Coast AM, the legendary late-night radio show hosted by Art Bell. Mike was nervous, stumbling over his words. He told Art he had built a device in his garage that could make objects vanish from reality for fractions of a second and then reappear in exactly the same spot, completely unchanged. Art Bell, a man who had heard every kind of wild claim imaginable, leaned in. "How do you know the object actually disappears?" he asked. "Could it just be an optical illusion from the arc?" Mike's answer made Art go quiet. "I know it disappears because I can feel it," Mike said. "When the field hits right, everything in the garage feels wrong. The air feels like it's holding its breath. And I'm not the only one who notices. My dog won't come near the garage anymore. Birds won't land on the roof.